What is up, guys? I am Joseph, this is JosephsPlace, and welcome to the first episode of Making Money on RuneScape, where I will show you how to make money on RuneScape, specifically Old School Runescape. Now, for this first episode, I have something that I think is fairly popular, but is also a little bit under the radar in terms of how good it actually is, and that thing is Blast Furnace. So without any further ado, let's get into the actual guide. Now, first section here we have is Preliminaries, the stuff you will need in order to do Blast Furnace effectively. Now, things that you're required to have is technically nothing. There are no required skills or really items except for a little bit of startup cash to buy your ore. Now, there are things I would highly recommend, and these are as follows. For skills, I would highly suggest 50 plus smithing in order to do at least mithril bars, and then 60 plus if you don't want to pay the foreman 2.5k every 10 minutes. Now, just a little side note, if you have under 60, you do have to pay the foreman 2.5k every 10 minutes to use it, but the price is negligible. The main thing is just it's a little bit of an annoyance to do that. So just keep that in mind. Other things I would highly suggest are a coal bag. That is number one thing I suggest. That speeds up everything so much and really makes it a lot more profitable. Other things are weight-reduced clothing and fairy rings. So pretty basic stuff there, but the coal bag is fairly essential into making the most you can out of the blast furnace. So now let's move on to the position where blast furnace actually is. So blast furnace is located in Keldagrim, the dwarven city near Rellekka. Now to get here, there are a few different ways, and I'm going to explain the more obvious and easy ones to you. The first and probably the best way to get there is to use the fairy ring code DKS, and this brings you right outside the entrance to the cave that leads to the underground city. So that one is probably the fastest and the easiest to do. Other probably common ways to get here are to use an enchanted lyre to teleport you near Rellekka, and then just run east and a little bit north towards the mountains, or if you need to, teleport to Camelot and then run north along the road, and then when you reach Rellekka, go a little bit east and north. There should be a map on the screen now kind of showing you exactly where to go, but overall it's really not that hard to find. So once you are in Keldagrim, once you have taken the boat across, all you have to do is run east and a little bit south, and you'll see a room with some stairs going down, and then down those stairs you will be in Blast Furnace. So very simple to get to, and it really doesn't take too long. It is a little bit out of the way, but it's not too terribly annoying to get to. Now, the process of what we'll be doing for Blast Furnace is probably the main part of this video, so I'm going to try to spend a little bit of time on this to kind of clearly explain it to you. Now, the idea is very simple. You take your ore, you put it on the conveyor belt, and you pick up your bars. Now, one thing I should note is that you do only need half the normal amount of coal to make a bar. For example, we'll be using mithril in this video. You only need 2 pieces of coal for every bar of mithril instead of 4. So it does reduce the cost a lot and really increases the profit per hour opposed to just making the bars. Now, things that you should know or have a general idea of, there are a few different jobs in Blast Furnace. However, I'm not going to cover those right now in this video, just because I want to keep this video a little bit shorter and mainly focus on the money-making portion of it. So you should just go to world 358 if you want to do it in a group. That is the official Blast Furnace world, and there is always a large group of people doing it, and it's fairly easy. So basically what you need to do is just take coal out of your bank, put it in your coal bag, get another inventory of coal, go to the conveyor belt, put both those inventories on the conveyor belt, go back to the bank, get your myth, put it on the conveyor belt, and basically wait for your bars. So it's very simple, very straightforward on what you actually have to do. Now, if you notice when the bars come out, they are red or yellow, a little bit of orange, I guess. They are molten, so you do have to pour water on them. However, if someone else does it first, it works for everybody. So if you notice that it's there for a while, it's just molten for a while, just throw a bucket of water on it and you'll be fine. Now, since I don't want this video to go too long, we're not going to go into very specific, super efficient blast furnace methods, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And if you're still confused about what to do, there should be a video playing in the background that kind of shows you exactly how I do it and what you really need to do. So now let's move on to the last part of the guide, which is the profit, which is probably the main factor on whether or not you will actually use this method. Now, I've done Blast Furnace for a few hours, and I was unfortunately having to do it when the servers were getting disconnected on a fairly regular basis. So these numbers I would say are a little bit on the low side, but I did get about an hour where I did have a very nice kind of clear patch of just server stability. So I was able to get a nice hour in, and I have factored that into the rates. So what we're looking at is an average of between 136 and 200 bars per 10 minutes. Now, the reason I did 10-minute intervals for the sample size tests is because I was below 60 smithing, so I had to pay 2.5k each time, and it seemed like a good marker to go off of. So if you multiply that out, you're looking at about 816 to 1200 bars per hour. Now, I did mention that the servers weren't extremely stable at the time, so I am fully confident that I could have gotten in at least one more inventory per those 10 minutes. If I was playing extremely efficiently and the servers were fine. So I'm going to increase that to about 1350, which would give us one full inventory per 10 minutes more, so a total of 6 more inventories per hour. So we're looking at between 816 and 1350 bars per hour, which is actually a very good profit. At the current prices, that's between 322k and 533k. So if we're just going to round some stuff off, just make it even 5 numbers ending in 5 to make it simple, we're looking at 325 to 535k cash profit per hour. Now, that might not be the best money-making method in the game, but it is very simple to do, and it doesn't require a lot of attention, so it's very, very easy, and it's very simple to just mindlessly do it while you're doing something else, say watching a TV show, because it does not require a lot of attention. So due to that, I would give this a very high rating. Now, I'm just going to give it a few personal ratings just so you know where I stand on it. In terms of GP per hour, I'm going to give it a solid 6.5 out of 10. And then in terms of convenience, I'd give it about a 7.5 out of 10 because it is so easy and does not require much attention at all. I know I repeat it, but it's very true. So in terms of that, an overall score, I would give this a 7 out of 10, which is a very decent score. It means, for me at least, I would go back and do this money-making method if I did need to make money for something. This is something that I would keep high on my list. If I needed to take a break from something else and watch a movie, I would very easily just, go to Blast Furnace and smith some bars. Very simple, and it is very profitable. So that's all I got for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it helps you. Again, we're not focusing on exactly the top money-making methods in the game. I want to focus more on things that the everyday player can do. Not anything super extreme, but not anything, like only 100, 200k cash per hour. We do want to focus on things that make a decent amount, but things that aren't extremely hard to do. So if you have anything like that you want me to test out or make a video on, leave them in the comments below and I will do my best to get to those. But until then, again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, that's all I got, so I will see you next time.